Hi, this is Larry with Man Cave Mayhem. Today I'm working on my 1981 CJ8 Scrambler. As you can see, I've got things torn apart on this. I kind of needed to go through, rip out some of the old wiring. Some of the old wiring projects, I had some old HID lights that needed to be taken care of. I also wanted to do a fuse block in this vehicle, so I've picked up a Blue Sea 12 spot fuse panel or 12 position fuse panel, and also a breaker switch, which is I think it's 100 amps. So anyhow, kind of going through here, just working over the wiring, organizing some of the wiring back here and getting it cleaned up. I also got a new fuel pump for it because the fuel pump's acting up in it. So I'll show you what I'm doing with this fuse block. I took it, I always, if I'm working with metal of any kind, I always take a piece of cardboard or something as a template. So I got this cardboard template, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut me a piece of aluminum and mount it right here, and that'll kind of give you an idea. I'm not sure how I'm going to lay these out, but it'll be something like this, or maybe even like this, I don't know, but we'll see. But that kind of gives you an idea what I'm looking for or looking to do. And this is a simple project anybody can do if you have any kind of skills at all. I'm actually cutting into some aluminum, which I'm using this template on. So when you go to cut the aluminum, you lay it flat. And this is an old stop sign that I picked up from work that they were going to throw in the recycle bin. So anyhow, so basically what I'm doing is I'm laying this out, and then I'll cut that, and then I'm going to place a bend right here where the bend is, and I'll put that on a bender and bend it, and then I can clean that up, polish it up, make it look really cool. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'll show you the end result, kind of give you an idea what you want to do if you want to kind of work on your Jeep, do a fuse block, or for any vehicle for that matter, if you want to organize your wiring and kind of isolate it from the vehicle's wiring. This is a good way to do it, and it keeps from getting the battery overloaded with a bunch of wiring runs. So I'll get started on this, and we'll go from there. That's all for now. All right, so I went ahead and put a metal cutoff blade on my skill saw. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out now. So we'll get that thing cut out, and then we'll go for the next step. Yeah, baby. All right, now that I got my basic piece cut out, I'm going to clean up these edges, and then I'm going to mark it where I need to do the bend. So we're going to go ahead and clean those edges up on the grinding wheel and wire wheel, and then we'll go from there. Just wanted to show you how this is coming along. This is the aluminum that I'm bending for my auxiliary switch panel over there that I'm going to put in the Jeep. So you can see what I did. I don't really have a bender, so took a couple pieces of angle iron, slid it in the vise, and you can do it this way too. Scored this surface right here and bent it. The reason it's not on the shiny side is because I cut it the wrong way, so I'm using it this way. But I got a pretty good, it's almost square, not quite yet, but I'm gonna get it there, give it a little more persuasion, and then I'll start stripping this side and getting it polished up. And I'll show you how I do that. So what I'm using here is a flap disc, and the thing works really good. It gets after this. Now, if you're smart, you don't do it on the wrong side of this, or you just use clean aluminum. But anyhow, I had this scrap piece of aluminum, so I thought I'd use it. And so I'm going to take the rest of this decal off, and then I'll use Scotch-Brite and kind of clean it up from there. But I'll go ahead and get that going, and then I'll show you how that sets inside. I used actually the flap disc on it to begin with. Then I used some a red Scotch-Brite angle frickin' buzzer. What is it called, Andrew?
That's a die grinder.
Die grinder. There we go. Getting senile in my old age. So we got the die grinder that we originally used a red disc on, and then we put the green disc on it, and now I'm sanding this to a pretty satin finish with this is 400 grit sandpaper on this little sander, and I'm just going to kind of leave it at kind of a satin finish. I'm not going to polish it out, but you can polish it out however you want to polish it out and make it look cool, but I'm going to leave it satin. All right, so Now this is how it's going to look in the Jeep. This is a CJ8 Scrambler, but if you're going to do it in a CJ7, it would be the same way, or a CJ5. Very similar. But here's a Blue Sea fuse block that I've got. Kind of sits in there like that. Then I've got a breaker for the positive side, so if I want to isolate any issues or shut off my power to any of these accessories, all I have to do is flip this, and the fuse is popped loose, and I can pop it back in if I need it for power. So that's the way that's going to work. Very similar to the way I had my Tacoma, but I didn't make the bracket to mount these. This one's handmade by me from an old stop sign. So now we'll start getting things ready and running wire. But we'll get this bolted down first and get it cleaned up and everything. That's all for now. Process of mounting this right now. I've got one bolt in it right here, which I had some existing holes that go through. You can see where that goes through right there. And I got a couple more, so I'm going to probably put 3 bolts in here. The top part's really solid, so I don't know if I'm going to do anything as far as bolting this front edge down. I mean, the thing's solid. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt those down. And then next, we'll start getting things ready to mount the Blue Sea fuse block and the breaker. Well, I ended up using 2 bolts right there to secure this whole thing. And they go through from the fenders here. Those were existing holes that I had in the Jeep from previous projects. But now I'm just trying to determine where I want to put this fuse block and breaker. So, you know, think things out before you do them. I'm probably going to drill a hole here and maybe a hole over here somewhere just to run wires through. Just a nice access point where I can run some wires through. I can always put a grommet around that to kind of keep the wires protected, or run some type of conduit through it to help keep that from being an issue. So that's where we are now. I'll keep working on it and show you the progress as I go along. That's all for now. All right, I drilled 2 holes in this for wires to run through. So now I'm going to position the fuse block and the breaker switch. These holes I drilled, I used a bit that I had. I don't know, I actually know where I got it. So if you guys ask where I got it, I really don't know where I got the bit. I can show you the bit that I had. Yeah, this is the type of bit I used to go into that. It makes a pretty clean cut. I got to clean up the edges now. I'll get the edges all cleaned up, and that's going to do it for that part of it. All right, I got the 2 holes drilled for the wires to run the wires through. This will probably just end up being 1 wire. That's the ground. And then this will have all these accessory wires running through it. So, well, yeah, I guess there'll be more wires running through this for the ground. But anyhow, I got 1 screw in this now. So I'm marking the holes, and I'm going to drill the holes and get this lined up really nice. And then we'll put the breaker on, and then it's just a matter of wiring this thing. It'll be done. I just wanted to kind of show you the progress I'm making. Got the fuse block secured, and now we got the breaker secured. Now it's just a matter of hooking the wires up, which is a great thing, and I think this will work out well. It's nice to be able to take a piece of aluminum that was going to get tossed or recycled and make it into something that's useful. This will clean up my engine compartment quite a bit. There was a lot of old wires running around. You can see the pile of wires I got rid of. So I'm going to start cleaning things up on this. The recommended wire size for the positive feed going into this is going to be either a 4 or 6 gauge wire. So it's a good little setup. I've used it on a couple other things. If you guys watch my channel, I've used it on my Tacoma. Just take your time, measure things, measure twice, cut once, they say. So just make sure you get that all set up. Like I said, this will be a good organizational tool under the hood to have in the future. Here's the finished product of the accessory fuse block. Got it all in, it's all wired up. I've only got 1 accessory wired to it right now, but there'll be more added. Just give you an idea how that's finished. This is the negative side. It's the positive side that goes to the breaker, and then it runs straight to the battery. I ran 10 gauge wire on both of these. You can run up to an 8 gauge wire on that if you want. But I'll just give you a view of that This is all the negative block right here. This is the positive block with the fuses. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Click that button for notifications. I know it's been slow getting videos up, but we got so many projects going right now. It's just been kind of hard to get them up. And just remember, I'm just a man in a cave causing mayhem. Thanks again for watching.